Are we live? We are live now. That was Green Onions, and we are just waiting for folks to show up. So, John Shemrai, I see you. Thank you for showing up. And it's, yeah, I'm waiting for people to show up. And you know what? If you're watching this in the replay, sometimes what's really great to do when you're waiting for something exciting is to just breathe and to understand that whoever shows up, whether you show up live here, hi Wendy Morrow, if you show up live here, or if you're watching me in the replay, it's all good. Hi Jim, John Shemrai. So this is my first. There's a lot of people on Facebook Live who are saying this is my first. I've never done it before. So hi Melanie Steele. It's all good. So one of the things that's true about the world right now is that it is not about performance. It's about authenticity. Hi, Stephen. Thank you for showing up. And that's very cool. So the first minute or so is going to be hi, everybody. Yeah, this is exciting. This is a brave new world. And apparently this is where I'm going to be every Friday at 1 o'clock. Making things up and hoping to shine some light into the way things are happening in the world. So first things first, those of you who are here, and do me a favor and think about how you're feeling right now. So let's just kind of land with each other. Hi, Rhonda. Let's just sort of land with each other right now. Text in how you're feeling, a word or a phrase. Text in how you're feeling right now. Let's just see what's happening in the world. I love it that I have my laptop here because it's a lot more technically fabulous. And yeah. So what are some words about how you're feeling? I'm feeling excited and terrified all at the same time. So that matters. That matters. Okay, so as we're waiting for folks to... Hi, Lev. Write the questions in the comments section. Oh, Chuck is helping me. So I think there's comments. Julie Buckeye, awesome. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Because you know, you make people feel awesome. And if you feel horrible right now, we are here for you, Julie. Yeah. So Chuck is helping me. My love of my life and 30-year partner is my tech person. So if you see me look up and go, that's Chuck. Okay. So we have a range of feelings from horrible to, oh my God, what's going to happen? And let me just tell you, I was at horrible a month ago. March 2nd, I was at horrible. I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what was going to happen. Those of us who are small business owners, we're in the position where what is going to happen, like the world just stopped. And what I've learned in the last month actually is why I'm doing this video. It's been exactly a month since I met a woman on Facebook. You can find her in the Reinvention Society. Her name is Dr. Nadia Zeksembayeva. I practiced that. She was born in Kazakhstan, and basically she's lived in a world that's kind of like this her whole life. And what she's done for her work for 20 years, 25 years, is to actually help people go through this kind of disruption. And my translation of how she says it is to kind of ride it like a wave. So, you know, there's some people who love to surf and other people who stand on the shore going, oh my God, what are you thinking? Well, she's one of those people who loves to surf. And so what I learned from her on March 3rd, when I was feeling just like you, Julie, was there are people who know how to surf this. And there are people who know how to inspire other folks. And there are people who actually understand that a leader is the person who brings their best to the worst circumstances. And so this is kind of like the worst circumstances that many of us have ever seen in our lifetimes. And so how do we sort of reorient and bring ourselves to some measure of being able to breathe, being able to just engage with the world, because otherwise we just curl up in a ball. You know, I used to live in Texas, and there's a thing called an armadillo, and how it protects itself is it rolls up in a ball. Yeah, I was feeling like that. And a lot of people are still feeling like that. So what are we doing here? what I learned from Nadia is that every single one of us has a gift. Every single one of us has something that we're great at, even if we're not getting the chance to use that right now. So, the thing that we're each great at actually adds light to the darkness in this world right now. So, I thought to myself, well, what do I have? What do I have to add? Well, I have a background that allowed me to become an addictions counselor 30 years ago. And one cool thing about addictions counseling is that it gives you the skills to actually unpack difficulties. They call it stinking thinking. If you're in the addictions work, stinking thinking. Well, a lot of us have stinking thinking right now, which is fear and rage. Those are the two things that are happening. I saw something on Facebook about there's people who are actually patrolling the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco because there are Asian Americans who are being beat up just because this is where the coronavirus started. I mean, it's just crazy. So we call that stinking thinking. And the way to address stinking thinking and get away from it, because it doesn't really help you, it makes you feel awful, it doesn't really contribute to the planet, is to actually breathe and to use those things that I have named simple shifts. They don't call them simple shifts, but basically that's what I learned. I learned ways to actually, strategies to move away from that stinking thinking. So today is the beginning of what I hope will be an ongoing conversation with people, which is to actually discover some simple shifts that I have created and also to uncover some what I call unconscious traps. Now, because I'm a trainer and it's what I do, I actually have some visual aids. And because I had no idea who was going to be here or what they were going to do or what kind of conversations we'd be having, I was prepared for whatever would show up. So this is what we call an unconscious trap. An unconscious trap, and they're kind of interesting. They look like a bear trap. And really what they are is they are outdated beliefs, thoughts, or behaviors that hold you back or stop you from moving forward. Now, they're not bad. I wouldn't say they were bad. They stop you, they hold you back, and the outcome of being held back and being stopped could be bad. But their intention is to stop you and have you pay attention. And so, an unconscious trap, it's unconscious, you have no idea that it's there. You just know that you just feel like crap. And so, one of the things I've invented to help myself is when you feel like crap, it's an unconscious trap. And that means it's time for you to kind of look around and do something about it. I'm all about doing something about it. And sometimes the best thing you can do is, as my friend Stephen Reeder says, is just acknowledge the fear or the grief or whatever the emotion is that you're feeling, because there's nothing wrong with your feelings. They are there to help you. So an unconscious trap, which we're going to be uncovering some of them today and in future conversations. An unconscious trap is something that's outdated. It's time to be updated. It's kind of like if you were using, your Apple. I just remember the very first Apple in 1995. If you were trying to run Mojave on that, you couldn't do it. And you would think there was something wrong with Mojave. There's nothing wrong with Mojave. It's just the computer that you're using it with. So it's time for an update. An unconscious trap means it's time for an update. And so, simple shifts. Now, the interesting thing I love about this is that simple shifts allows you to move around or through whatever the circumstances are. And simple shifts are different than unconscious traps. Unconscious traps happen automatically. There's nothing you can do about them. They just get you, depending on a lot of other factors, some of which we'll talk about in a second. Hi, Chuck. Hold them up higher. Okay. So here is an unconscious trap. It looks like a bear trap. And you can see you step right on that round circle. Hi, Doovie. How are you, my dear? So lovely to see you. And they happen automatically. You just step in them. I mean, you're just walking along, having a whatever, and they get you. Now, simple shifts are different. Oh, look at this. Simple shifts you actually have to choose. You have to understand that you're caught, and you have to make a decision to shift. And I'm going to show you some of those today. So, why do we care about unconscious traps and simple shifts with all the things that are happening in the world right now? Well, my sense of things, based on my training and my own experience of being big time caught in a trap. Hi, Eileen. How are you, my dear? Is that we are caught in a world that lives in unconscious traps of anger and fear. And if you watch the news, and for those of you who have stopped watching the news, because there's nothing you can do about the news right now except for feel angry and afraid. We live in a world, we're surrounded by that. And so there has to be a way out. And that's what simple shifts are. So simple shifts are updated beliefs, behaviors, and thoughts that move you forward despite whatever the circumstances are. Now, I got the idea for this kind of thing a long time ago from a guy named Viktor Frankl. If you've heard of Viktor Frankl, and a lot of people have, he's the person who wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. It is the best-selling self-help book of all time, and he wrote it in the 1940s. That says something. So here's a guy who is in a concentration camp. He lost his wife, his young wife, his parents, his home, his family, everything. But he survived the concentration camp. And he wrote of actually walking, trudging somewhere in the snow. He has no shoes on. He has rags on. He's cold, but he's thinking about his wife, and he's thinking about a dinner he had with her, and he is warm. Now that is a simple shift, because what I've learned in my training is that it's not what happens to you, and he's the guy that proved it. And the second guy that proved it was Nelson Mandela. 27 years in a 6-foot cell. And you'd think if circumstances were everything, we would never have heard of either one of them. But both of them are the proof that it doesn't matter what's happening. Yes, there's lots of scary things that are happening right now, and we can get through it the way they did with simple shifts. And that's just my word for it. There's lots of other ways to get through it, but my word is simple shift. So simple shifts is to think a different way about what's happening. And so I would love to know, it's like, I feel like this is a conversation. I'd love to have somebody write something. What do you think about what I just said? What do you think about this idea of simple shifts and unconscious traps and Nelson Mandela and Viktor Frankl? What do you think? Sometimes you have permission to not say what you think. And sometimes you have permission to just watch. So I'm going to take that as I'm not thinking anything right now. You should keep on going. Okay, that's what we'll do. But wait, here comes Chuck. No. Okay. So what do they say? I don't know how to scroll down. Oh, here I do. Yay! Sometimes you just need help. And you have to just trust that it'll come. Hi, Melanie. Oh, awesome. Hi, Wendy. Okay. Amanda. Scroll, scroll, scroll. My sisters are here. Okay. So, perspective is important. My simple shift is learning yoga. Absolutely, Amanda. Rise up against adversity. Absolutely. Easy to understand and apply. Thank you, Melanie. And triggers can help us be aware and that we're needing healing. Absolutely. And Stephen, being in the present time with gratitude for what I have, absolutely, including health. And shifts are everything, Eileen, absolutely. And Wendy, absolutely. Us. Hi, Monica. Happy birthday today. And Ann Ladd. This is a big, long name, but her jewelry is amazing. Hi, Monica. A renewing of the mind. That's what we're doing right now. We're doing a renewing of the mind. So fortunately, here are the pieces. Okay, So we've been at this for 15 minutes and we're here, we're together. You get a sense of simple shifts and unconscious traps. So I'm going to give you the very first. And you know what? I have three to share with you, but guess what? We'll get to what we get to. All right. Because I'll be back here on Friday. So the next thing that has saved me tremendously from a lot of stress, you're welcome, is, oh, Chuck just helped me make it so that now when they come in, I see them. But don't you love it that, there's peace in the space so that I can wait for you to talk? One of the things that helps me the most and that can help all of us is just wait for it. Okay. So, one of the things that, one of the simple shifts that I created is something called the gears. Now, the unconscious trap is that we think that everything that we experience is the truth in the world. I have a person in my life who seems to believe that his version of the truth, and it's not Chuck, um, his version of the truth is the truth, capital T, capital T. And if he agrees with it, it's true. If he doesn't agree with it, it's not true. And there's really nothing you can say to him because that is his truth. And so I used to be a lot like that myself. I used to think that whatever was true for me was true in the world. And I've come to understand there's at least three ways that you can look at anything that happens. So, have you ever ridden a bike with more than one gear? Have you ever driven a car with a standard transmission? Let me see. Have you? Yes, 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 yes. Yes, you have. Okay. So you understand that when you've got a set of gears, you can go faster or slower. You can shift your gears depending on the terrain you want to travel. So if you're riding a bike and you want to go up a hill or down a hill or drive flat, you've got three different gears to use it. And so what I realized is that human beings have three gears in their heads as well. We think we only have one, and who's told you that you have three gears? Hi, Kim. How are you? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick mention of the three gears that are possible. Hi, Mary O'Connor. I love you too. And you know what? It makes it more fun to have visual aids. So there's three gears. First gear, second gear, third gear, just like on your bike. So here's first gear. Planet me. Me, all the time. And what's really cool about Planet Me is that everything all the time is always true and always right, but just for you on your little planet. Now, everybody has their own Planet Me. And right now, in the midst of this coronavirus, everyone's experience is the truth for them. And they can't hear you right now because they're so busy experiencing, as we all are, our own planet. Yes, I have one now. And so what I want you to understand is that just like the gears on your bike, that's just one possibility. Hi, Amanda. Love your gears. And I know you've got three. The interesting thing is that when you understand you can shift mental gears, the circumstances around you tend to shift as well. So first gear is you, yourself, your own little planet, always right, always true. It's the only gear in which you can act. Okay? Now, second gear, I want you to have some visual aids. So the next time you see somebody else's shoes, no, these are not my shoes, but they're very cute. Second gear is walking a mile in somebody else's shoes and understanding that they have their own planet and what's true for them is simply what's true on their planet. And when you take a walk in their shoes, you start to see things and hear things and understand things that aren't true on your planet. When you're with your family and you're cocooning, as we say, instead of quarantine. Quarantine sounds so medical, and cocooning sounds a lot better, a lot more fun. But you're with your family and you're not used to being with your spouse and your kids and your dog and your cat and trying to get work done. It's crazy. And each one of those folks that's in your house has got their own little planet. And what's happening on their planet is the truth for them. And when you're tired and you're stressed, sometimes it's hard to see. So when you take a walk in their shoes, you go, oh, that's what that was. It makes it easier to be at home with them. It makes it easier to enjoy each other and to understand each other and to learn from each other. Now there's one more gear, and that's the gear of third gear, the objective perspective. And that is if you kind of try and fly overhead and see what's happening. So it's bigger than your planet. It's bigger than whoever's shoes you're in. It's just you kind of flying over the situation and thinking, look at that. Or, wow, listen to that. I hear that. So you can see and hear and feel things in third gear that are invisible to you in first gear and second gear. So first gear, second gear, and third gear actually helps you to have a range of behaviors, a range of perspectives that actually helps you experience different things on your planet. So this video is kind of an invitation to expand what's true on your planet, because you're only going to see this or respond to this based on what's true on your planet. So my goal for our conversations is to actually add new things to your planet every week. So what do you think about about three gears? Because there's one more secret about the gears, and that is sometimes you can't shift from first gear to second or third. Sometimes you are just so stuck on your planet that you can't move. So that's why you need neutral, right? You have neutral in your car to separate the engine from the wheels. Sometimes you need to separate your engine from the wheels of whatever's going to come out of your mouth. Yes. And so neutral is just this. Wait for it. Because that helps you shift. Okay, what do you think? I think they'll scroll. I think if you're right, I can see them. Let's see. So first gear, second gear, third gear, can you use them? How about neutral? Absolutely fix your clutch, John. Thanks, Eileen. Absolutely. That breath is a lifesaver for me too. Melanie, thank you. Yay. Awesome. Apply it ASAP. That whole breathing thing really works for you. Thank you, Mary. Absolutely. Yay. Awesome. So we've got about 7 minutes left. And in the next 7 minutes, I'm just going to pass through something that's kind of interesting. See what you think. Last piece. Take a look at this picture and tell me what those three pictures have in common. The first one is a picture of traffic. The second is a baby's face. And the third is a refrigerator that's open. What do you think? Melanie, all caused me anxiety. Not my intention, but okay, we're going to get that fixed. Because they're driving on the wrong side of the road, aren't they? Veranda, how are you? Let's see if I can get one more. All can nourish our souls, especially if your refrigerator looks like that, right? And me looking at it is what they have in common. Absolutely. Julie, you go, girl. So here's the interesting thing. Janie Cleland. Hi, Dave Cleland. That's awesome. Important people in my life. Wendy Moore. It is a tough one. So here's the thing that's funny about this. Nobody ever gets it. But you're going to get it in a second. It's going to look totally different. Okay? What you were looking at is three examples of patterns. You have a traffic pattern, and if you look at the traffic, it's on the wrong side, right? Okay? So you're thinking, that's not right. That baby is not really crying. That baby is getting ready to cry. Okay? And if that refrigerator looks like your refrigerator, then you're happy. But if it doesn't, oh my gosh. Now when you see, like, oh, patterns, okay, that makes sense. Patterns are so intrinsic to the world that they're invisible to us. So the patterns of our unconscious traps, the patterns of our behavior in first gear, all of the things that are true for us are invisible. It's kind of like the water. If we were fish, it would be our water. So here's the point. The interesting thing about patterns is that everything we see, it's a pattern. The next thing that happens is we look at it without understanding it's a pattern. We give it a meaning, and that meaning gives us an emotion. So, pattern plus a meaning equals emotion. OMG. When I learned that, I almost fell down. Because it's when you understand that you've got 3 gears and the pattern looks different from first gear, the second gear, and third gear, all of a sudden you realize that what you think is true because it's a pattern and that pattern is invisible and you're in first gear and oh my God, this is awful. You have no idea until you see this. What we are seeing, what we're experiencing doesn't have to be so. So remember Viktor Frankl and Nelson Mandela. They made the patterns around them mean something different. And that changed their emotion. And when your emotion changes, that gives you a calm feeling or an upset feeling. Pattern plus meaning equals emotion. Thank you, John. So everybody can see that. The point is, it's not what's happening that holds us back. It's what we make it mean. And so the light I want to leave you with this week, and thank you all so much for joining me, is that just because we are seeing it doesn't mean it has to impact us in a negative way. I love you too, Janie. We can choose how we respond to this pandemic, to this economic shutdown. We can choose what we do and what we think. So we've got about 2 minutes left. I want to make sure that you get to say something and that we wrap with you. So what's one word that all of this leaves you feeling in this moment? Because we'll be back next Friday. This one word. And mine is joyful that you're all here. Oh, thank you, Doobie. This is awesome to have you here. Eileen, thank you. Connected. Right. Absolutely, darling. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much. Fiona, normal, comfort, reflective. Yay. We are in this together. We are not alone. And one of the things that I learned from Dr. Nadia is that this was a community of people from around the world. I mean, from all around the world. Perspective. Thank you, Stephen. And we are in this together. Even though we're in our homes, we can meet every Friday. We can be together and you've got this. When you start to miss me, you can watch this again. Julie, from horrible to perspective. Yay! It's kind of like how I feel in your Kundalini yoga class, Julie. And that's an amazingly powerful, powerful tool for me. So we have about a minute left. And let me just tell you how much I appreciate you being here, how much I love you, and how much you bring to my life every single day. So thank you. I love you. And I hope you'll come back because next week we're going to talk about energy levels. And energy levels, Steve, hi Connie, how are you, darling? Stephen Reeder and I went to the same coaching school and know something really amazing about energy that we connect to the gears. So I have 30 seconds to say goodbye. So how about if we just breathe together? Can we do that? Let's just breathe. 3 breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I'm holding your hand.